Hi everyone, I'm CBS 19 Chief Meteorologist Brett Anthony here at the CBS 19 Weather Center. Welcome to our Facebook stream, our CBS19.TV stream. If you're watching over our app or on our webpage, you can follow along and follow this coverage also on our YouTube channel. We're going to bring you an update here on our situation as we head deeper now into the afternoon. Some changes to the severe thunderstorm watch. We still have the severe thunderstorm watch in effect for counties such as Gregg County, Rusk County, and over toward Panola, and also Marion and Harrison County. That goes until 5. But now until 10 o'clock, we have Smith County and Cherokee County, and also Angelina County, also Nacogdoches and San Augustine and Sabine County, and then Houston, Trinity, Anderson, and Henderson County added in until 10 o'clock. So once we get to 5 o'clock, a few of these counties closer to the Louisiana border will fade away. It'll be the counties from Smith County and Cherokee County west that will have the severe thunderstorm watch that goes until 10 o'clock. All right, this is the current view of CBS 19 radar, a live view. We still have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings currently underway. One of those is down in Panola County. That's going to be, and Shelby County. That's going to be near center, where we had a cluster of thunderstorms roll through earlier. And we've got Joanne, thanks for watching. Leanne, also thank you for watching. So just hearing now from the National Weather Service local storm report, this is going to be near Wascom in Panola County, of reports of trees and power lines down throughout the area. So that's going to be about 8 miles south of Wascom. And also getting reports of some trees down throughout the county in Harrison County, and that's just north of Marshall. If you can safely share any of those photos with us, you can do so by going to the CBS 19 app, and if you haven't already downloaded, I'd say go ahead and do that. And then at the bottom right-hand corner on the app, there's something called the Near Me tab, and you just simply click on that, and then you can upload whatever picture you've taken safely from your location, and then we will get that here at the TV station. The other way to do that would be to email us at weather@cbs19.tv. So 2 ways to share weather photos with us. We can also sometimes share those with the Weather Service to give them an accurate depiction of what has been witnessed this afternoon. But right now, that is a severe thunderstorm warning again for the southeastern part of Panola County and most of Shelby County. There is another warning that has just popped up. This goes until 3:45, so this is for about the next 43 minutes. This is going to be for Henderson County, and the city of Athens is included in that, and it looks like that is headed to the southeast roughly at about 20 miles an hour. So let me play this. Over the last couple of hours, you'll see these showers of thunderstorms flaring up. Watch them again. They started out as a small cell in extreme northwestern Henderson County, and now it has become a thunderstorm that looked at a time as if it was splitting. And if it was splitting, that means both of these cells could be strong, or at least one of those would take over and produce some large hail. In this instance, it looks like the cell near Gun Barrel City may right now have some larger hail with that. In fact, I'm going to zoom into the next graphic, and you'll see here we have some marble to nickel-sized hail currently around Eustis, just to the north of Log Cabin near Gun Barrel City. And this cell is moving east again. I think the movement on it has generally been roughly at about 18 to 20 miles an hour. So let's see if that's headed over toward Murchison. We'll put a little track on this hail core here from Odom toward Eustis and down just to the north of Malakoff, though right now in Malakoff you may have a little bit of a small hail also appearing near Malakoff. So this will make it to Murchison and may reach Brownsboro here within the next hour. So Brownsboro at about 4:02. Again, it's marble-sized hail, but there could be enough of it where it covers the ground in some isolated areas. So Pickens at about 3:16, Murchison at 3:40, then Opelika around 3:52, and Brownsboro at about 4:02 this afternoon. All right, so back to the radar. Again, that's going to be with that cell there that has the severe thunderstorm warned component to it near Maybank. It's moving out of Maybank right now, but moving into Athens. In fact, that cell should move into Athens within the next, say, 15 minutes. The hail core is just north of that, but Athens, you could still expect a thunderstorm with maybe some heavier rain and some gusty winds. That is the severe thunderstorm warning out to that area. How far is that away from, say, Bullard or Noonday or Tyler? Well, let's take a look at that, and what we'll do is we'll track the general movement of it. It's moving at 20 miles an hour, and so its estimated arrival time in Tyler then would be, let's see, we'll take the area to the north that has that little hail core in it. So that would roughly be about an hour and a half from now in Tyler. So that would put it here at about 4:30. So if we're going to see any hail off of that cell in Tyler, it's going to be at about 4:30 this afternoon. All right, let me see who else is watching on our Facebook page. We've been following along. If you got any questions for us, we'd be happy to try to answer those for you. And if we can, help you out on just kind of helping to plan throughout the evening. That we know that there are a lot of folks who are going to be headed out this evening. For instance, there is the Tomato Festival in Jacksonville ongoing. There's also Cattle Barons Ball tonight. So if anyone is headed to any of those events, perhaps it's best to just kind of make sure that you know what you're headed into if you head out this evening or this afternoon. And, along the way, you may find yourselves running into a thunderstorm. All right, so Tracy says, so you say another round is coming later, right? Well, and this may be the second round, Tracy. So, and this round would make it over to Spring Hill where you are roughly at about 5 to 6 o'clock. So that would be your second round. For the most part, this cluster of showers and thunderstorms, we expect to move more southeast from this location across parts of Smith County, across Cherokee County, in Anderson County and through Houston County. So even though this is sort of spreading eastward, you can see how it's starting to grow down toward Palestine and in Crockett. So, and then eventually it should turn southeastward through parts of Cherokee County into Nacogdoches County and into Lufkin County. That's where there is the new thunderstorm watch. In fact, I'll go back. Now, the whole area is under severe thunderstorm watch at least until 5 o'clock. But the area, and maybe I can draw a line here and kind of help you out on where. So I'd say west of this line here, so the yellow line that I've drawn there, west of that line, you've got a severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. I'll put the arrow on here. So this area here with the yellow arrow that you can see right now, this goes until 10. This area out here to the east should have the severe thunderstorm watch until 5 o'clock. All right, so that's why we think these thunderstorms that are growing back toward Canton and back toward Dallas-Fort Worth area will head more in a southeasterly direction. Let's go up and look at this little thunderstorm that's developed northeast of Tyler toward Browning and Winona toward Liberty City. Just kind of getting its act together right now. A couple of lightning strikes are showing up with it. Our Titan indicator suggests there may be some hail inside this cell. So let's shrink that Titan indicator size down just a hair. And as we do, we can see the lightning, and that's just going to be east of Owentown. But let me look inside. So what we do is we have algorithms that are used for mathematical formulas that look inside these storms, and based on the parameters that we see happening right now, it estimates what the storm may be producing. So in this instance, it could have some marble-sized hail, maybe up to nickel-sized hail. The probability that there's at least a little bit of hail in this cell near Owentown, out toward Browning, and northeast of Tyler is about 80%. But the probability that it gets up to the size of quarters is very low. So the hail impact is, even at that, it's moderate, so it's not very large. And the flood impact also is not very large. But it is a cell worth watching, as it looks like it has gained some strength here in just a little bit. One of the other ways we can tell if a storm is strengthening is by looking at the lightning strikes. If the lightning strikes are increasing, then the storm is also gaining in strength. So out here in the Caney City Crossroads area, keeping an eye on these cells as they continue to produce some lightning strikes. And we'll see if there's an increase here recently. I'm checking out the National Weather Service. Looks like they've canceled the severe thunderstorm warning for Panola County. And that is going to go away here shortly. You will notice, however, that there is some weak rotation within that cell southeast of center, getting closer to the Louisiana border to the north of Newville right now. All right, so that's just to the east of Highway 96 coming out of center and Flat Fork. Meantime, back toward Laneville, Lawsonville, and Dotson, you've got a thunderstorm in that area. It's not severe at the moment. And down in the Crockett area, southwest of Crockett, here's a little thunderstorm that is also picking up some strength. Now, initially, one of the concerns that we had this afternoon were for these thunderstorms to produce some large hail right off the bat, and then this would transition into more of a straight line wind event. We're still waiting to see if we'll get any kind of a straight line wind component to this. At the time, it looks like these clusters of showers and thunderstorms, they're going to mainly pose a threat for some hail. And so that's what we've seen. But as these thunderstorms have moved eastward, they did take on somewhat of a bowing structure to the east of Tyler and Longview, down toward Tatum and through parts of Wascom. We had reports now of some wind damage in that area, also in the Lake Cherokee area. Wind damage also reported there to the National Weather Service. Let's see. Another watch probability, we'll check that out here in just a second. Looks like there may be a small chance that a watch could be extended past 5 p.m., but I'll look at that in just a minute. So a local storm report from the National Weather Service in Fort Worth. So a trained spotter reporting some quarter-sized hail in the Eustis area. Quarter-sized hail reported a quarter mile west of Eustis High School by a trained spotter. That was at 3:05. That was the cell that we were looking at that had the warning on it before. In fact, we can go into that cell, and that's going to be this one right here. So it looks like maybe out toward Eustis and Crossroads, we've got somewhat of a larger, the hail core is coming up just a little bit. So this is a new severe thunderstorm warning. This is going to be toward, this is way down to the south. Okay, so this is just outside of our viewing area, but this is down in Jasper and Newton County on the south end of the Toledo Bend. This is a good thing to know, because if you have friends who or family members who may be fishing Toledo Bend and they're on the south end of that, south of Hemp Hill, you might want to give them a heads up that there is a severe thunderstorm warning or severe thunderstorm headed in that direction. So let's see. Looking for some more questions or anyone who's got a question about the severe thunderstorm. Let's see. Let me go back to the comments. Peggy Davis is watching. Hello. What about Freestone County? That's Fairfield and the Oakwood areas. All right, in Freestone County right now, we are going to go check out here. And that's going to be, it looks like toward Buffalo. There is that thunderstorm that is picking up in intensity out there. There's Fairfield. So in the Fairfield area, we've got a that thunderstorm. Let me play this out one time. Yeah, so Fairfield, you're minutes away from having a non-severe shower move through there. Maybe some heavy rain. Doesn't look like it's severe at this time, but could easily gain and get a little bit stronger. All right, update here on the severe thunderstorm warning. Now, Henderson and Anderson County have been added to a severe thunderstorm warning till 4:15, and that is going to be on this part of the cell here. It looks like quite a bit of a hail core, at least on reflectivity. And I'm looking at this area here to the northwest of Cayuga right there. So it looks like that hail core has come up a little bit, and that has really increased quickly. So, in fact, let's go to the hail indicator there. So that's near Crossroads, and let me see if there's another part of that storm. No, that's the one, and that, at least in our Titan indicator, is saying that there is, our hail indicator suggests that those are some nickel-sized hail. So that would be slightly below the severe criteria. But for a moment, it may have ticked up. There may have been a storm spotter out in that area that reported some hail that could have qualified as a severe hailstone of at least a quarter in diameter. All right, so in Rusk County, southwest of Easton, there's reports of trees down in that area. One report of a tree on a power line near County Road 2164. So Rusk County, Easton area, the southeastern part. These are going to be reports from the cell that moved through earlier this afternoon. Let me go over to that. I'm going to go back to reflectivity here. So that's going to be out in this area where we've had, this is probably, I think earlier in the Easton area, Rusk County, that's going to be, that was at 1:30, so that was much earlier this afternoon. But we're just getting reports of that now up in the, there it is, in the Tatum area. So as that storm moved out of Harrison County and moved through Easton and Tatum, it did produce some wind damage in those areas. There was nothing happening right there, maybe some light rain at the time in those areas, so they will be cleaning up. All right, the Laneville storm has gotten a little bit stronger here in southern Rusk County near Mount Enterprise. If you live in Mount Enterprise, you're likely getting some very heavy rain at this time. All right, Angie, hi, thanks for watching. Brian is also watching, and Brenda, hello. Let's see, and then what about, okay, we talked about that. Tracy, you're welcome. I'm always happy to keep you guys up to date here on this afternoon. We're going to stay with these cells for a little bit here just because they are sort of developing back here to the west, and we now have a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect for these counties west of Smith County, and we now have dual severe thunderstorm warnings ongoing for parts of Henderson and the northern part of Anderson County on this cell here, with some hail being reported inside that cell. In fact, on our Titan indicator right here, we've got at least maximum hail size estimated inside that storm at close to quarters, maybe a little bit bigger. We did just check out our, and it looked like from our reflectivity that there was a bit of a hail core within that cell. Maximum hail size would be at 2 inches, getting closer to ping pong ball to golf ball sized hail. The probability of hail inside that storm is 100%. The probability of severe hail at this point now is up to 80%, and that hail impact is going to be moderate to high, meaning it's up to about a 6. In fact, right there toward Crossroads is what we're looking at. Now, this isn't coming in. There might be a small hail core in that area that is where this $50 sized hail could be coming down at this time. All right, so let me go back in again on that cell. That's going to be closing in on Athens. That's going to be closing in on Eustis is one of the reports that we had for some larger hail. Looks like that's moved through Malakoff over to Crossroads, up toward Moore Station, and all right, so there's Eustis. And that's part of the cell that's headed north of Athens, but toward Murchison, and eventually we said Brownsboro at about 4:02, and that would put it toward Chandler at about 4:15 to 4:20. If you know anybody out in the Chandler area that might be on the Neches River or on near Lake Palestine, you might want to give them a call and tell them there's a pretty good thunderstorm that's headed in their direction, and they probably should get off of the water at this time and find some shelter. Meantime, we're looking at these let me just kind of play this out for us here. These thunderstorms are really, this kind of came back together, sort of congealed back together into one large thunderstorm complex or cluster. And so that cluster is now working its way eastward and southeastward. Behind that, there are additional showers and thunderstorms out in the Italy area. And that is interacting with a little bit of an outflow boundary that is moving from DeSoto through Waxahachie to the southeast. And those thunderstorms are developing right on that outflow and also spreading eastward. One of the other concerns with these showers and thunderstorms this afternoon will be heavy rainfall and flash flooding. Not to mention large hail or some damaging winds, and we've already had reports of some damaging winds earlier this afternoon. Several reports coming out of Rusk County. As I said, if you live in Rusk County in any of these areas that we had mentioned, Tatum area, Lake Cherokee area, and you can safely do so, we'd love to see what you can share with us in terms of pictures so that we can then share that with everyone to give everyone an idea of what they may have experienced today. It looked as if there may have been either the bowing segment of the thunderstorm that went through, or what may have happened is that the thunderstorm itself may have collapsed. It looked like it weakened quickly as it was moving out of the Tatum area down to the south into the southeast. All right, so we have some other thunderstorms. I'm going to try to show you something here. We're going to pull this graphic up here, and okay, we're going to take a live picture from Nacogdoches. All right, so that's Nacogdoches right now, and that's looking off to the northeast. So that's a fairly stormy-looking sky right now. No features that would be of concern. Got that little detached base that's kind of floating over top the stadium there, just maybe some rising scud into the storm. In other words, it's very humid at the surface. It's very warm. That warm air is rising. There may be some cooler winds flowing out of the thunderstorm from aloft, and as it encounters that moist air, you might say that net condensation is outweighing net evaporation, and so you get the little cloud development on the south side of that cloud. So it's not anything, it's not a wall cloud or anything of that nature. So just something to look at. All right, very warm outside, but Tyler's cooled off to 79 degrees. Longview has cooled back to 68. Nacogdoches still at 91, and Lufkin's at 93. So a whole lot of buoyancy and energy at Nacogdoches and at Lufkin. Now watch when I go here to this visible satellite imagery here. So what's going on? Why am I looking at this? Because anywhere you see that bright white area, that is where we've had thunderstorms, and we've got high cirrus clouds just sort of stopping the sun from warming up the earth. And that's why we're at 79 right now in Tyler, and may not recover, may not get back up much more than maybe 81 or 82. But I want you to look down here to the south. I'll circle the area down here toward Lufkin, where it's 93, Jacksonville, Palestine, Crockett. So anywhere in this area here, that's where all the energy is. And so that's where these thunderstorms that we see up toward Dallas, and it is interesting to note the direction that we're seeing the clouds and the movement of the storms. They appear to be moving out of the Dallas area, kind of dropping south and eastward, kind of like this. So some of these thunderstorms may move into that really buoyant area near Palestine and Crockett and then really explode. So here's energy for thunderstorms. So we got strong energy in the areas of red right now, and that's that same area that I just showed you where the sun is out. There's the areas in green over toward Longview and Carthage. So that's weak instability over there. That would not support, would likely not support, can never say always, but would likely not support severe development. We could see some through about 5 or 6 o'clock in the Tyler area. By 9 o'clock, the instability has essentially vanished. So I would say after 9 o'clock, the threat of severe weather will appreciably drop across East Texas. All right, I'll go back to radar here and bring you up to date on what we have. I'm getting some more updates from the Weather Service. And from the Weather Service, they're saying Hawkins and Wood County, so this was from earlier this afternoon, and we were actually streaming when we were talking about this. So reports of some golf ball-sized hail in Hawkins. In fact, this was, in Hawkins in Wood County. And let me think if there's anything else from the Weather Service. All right. A confirmed spotter report from Mark Cotton. And this is going to be a funnel. Spotter is 16 miles south of Malakoff, Henderson County. Funnel cloud approximately 5 miles northwest of Cayuga. Scuds being pulled up into the base. Keeps recycling. All right, so let's go back to the radar, and let's go back to this cell here. We'll go back to this is going to be near Malakoff, where they say they have a confirmed sighting of a funnel in Malakoff. All right, so where did Savannah go? Let's check to see if we may have to go on air just for a little bit for this, just to cover this, just because we have a report of a confirmed funnel in the area out there. But I'll let you all know in just a second. So we're going to stay on live here with our Facebook page. I'm going to walk over to the wall. I'll show you what we're talking about. We're in this area here, but right now it may have easily moved to the east back toward, there it is, toward Cayuga. There's that little inflow notch here. So there's the hail core. This may be the rear flank and the flanking downdraft of clouds that are coming in at this time. So that would be that area that we are watching carefully for that. Let's see, let me find out from Mateo if he wants us to go over programming. We have live sports on right now, so we've got to figure out what we want to do with this. It's not tornado warned, but it could become tornado warned, and the Weather Service in Fort Worth is watching that area very carefully. I'll look at reflectivity here, and as we go to reflectivity mode, let's see what we have happening. Anybody out in the, let's see. Downstream warning coming for Sabine Parish, Natchitoches. Okay, so so if you're in Sabine County, you're gonna get a severe thunderstorm warning if you're watching from Sabine County at this time. So a lot going on this afternoon, and I am going to be looking at that storm. I was near Malakoff. It's really hard to pick up. There's not much. I mean, there might be something in there, but we're just not. It's kind of muddled. If there's circulation there, it's pretty weak. So at this point, I think they're going to hold off on any type of tornado warning, go with a severe thunderstorm warning. just looking at the radar and everything.
Not yet.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. And it looks like the circulation is weakened too. All right. So again, we are at 3:30 here, and we have the severe thunderstorm warning in parts of Anderson and Henderson County, and just got a new severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued up toward Sabine County, down toward Newville. And our Titan indicator at this time has a little bit of a rotation within that cell, probably more so just wind and hail, but it is showing some low-end tornado impact, meaning that there's probably a lot of wind inside that cell. This is not an environment conducive for tornadoes, not to say that something couldn't spin up quickly or briefly, and I think evidence of that has been found with the cell out here to the west. So all right, that goes till 4:15. All right. Savannah, you want to come over, and I'll go to the wall for just a little bit, and then we'll just flip back and forth between velocity, on that cell. All right, so this is the cell that we're watching, and let me grab my phone in case there are any comments or questions about anyone out in that area. So again, we are streaming on our Facebook page. We're also streaming on our YouTube channel. And we are trying to keep you up to date also through our, let's see, we answered that question about Freestone County. Shawana, you're welcome. All right. So that's the cell of most concern right now. And that was going to be, and it looks like it's fallen apart. There was this area back here toward Cayuga that they were watching. This area in here would be something that we'd also need to keep an eye on. That's east of Round Prairie, northwest of Bradford. But again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning. This portion goes till 4:15, so that's another 45 minutes. This northern portion of the cell toward Athens goes till 3:45. Not a ton of lightning in that cell right now, so I don't know that it has a real powerful updraft in it. It does look like it's increased in intensity a little bit. Right in here is the hail core, so there is certainly some inflow coming here. And then the updraft is bringing the storm up, and you can see how it just flashed bright for a second. So right in here would be where there could be some small hail coming down out of that cell. That's southwest of Athens. Athens would not be included in that, but Athens would be included in the severe thunderstorm warning. In fact, it looks like Athens is being split by both of those warnings. Moore Station now is then seeing increasing lightning strikes over toward White House and now toward Tyler. And then that's also moving into eastern Henderson County. And then over toward Frankston, it would be about a half hour away from Frankston if it continues moving in that direction. All right, so right in there, we just had a little more of an inflow notch come into the storm and just started to pick up maybe intensity a little bit. So I probably have my tracking on, my magic track. But we're not in play mode. Okay, cool. All right, let's see. I'm just looking to see how many folks are see if anybody's got any questions about this cell. All right, so that's the one down here toward Mansfield. And then, yeah, all right, so not identifiable. Looked like, can you flip back and forth between reflectivity? I got to correlate these two, but I think it's going to be right in here where it looks like near northeast of Cayuga, where that cell looked like it was. So it's just really, there's just not, in this area here is where they're trying to say that there may have been a funnel spotted. If there was, that's why I think it could be somewhere here. And if that's the case, then yeah, there could be at least a lowering, maybe some scary looking clouds, rising scud into that storm at this time. So it's still severe thunderstorm warned for about the next 45 minutes. The lightning has not come up a lot, so it's just a little bit there. That our Titan indicator would tell us that there's hail back in this portion of the storm, and there is. And then to the east of that cell has picked up also and gotten a little bit stronger. So This is, again, a severe thunderstorm warned cell that goes until, I believe 4:15, and that's moving away. That's heading out of the area, though. It is southeast of center over towards Shelby County. Also, east of Nacogdoches, northeast of Nacogdoches, that severe thunderstorm has also picked up in intensity. So let's zoom back in on that again and go back toward Cuyahoga. Now we're getting another area that looks like it could be curious. Both of those could have a feature with them, either in there or that looks like just strong inflow, but Cuyahoga might be. So here, go back to that on the sweeping radar image. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just go to, just plop it down to velocity and do it with the storm relative mean. Yeah, and then, yeah, it's just not. Yeah, there's a little, there's just nothing. If it's there, it's weak. All right, so I think we can go back to reflectivity off of that and continue to watch it. Again, we would come on air if we had to, but right now that we have live sports programming on CBS19.tv, so you're watching along here at our website, CBS19.tv, and our Facebook page as we continue to track this cell here. If you live in Bradford, if you're at Tennessee Colony, Crossroads, and Tennessee Colony, you probably have a really good view of this storm off the distance to your northwest. So the clouds may look very low right in here. It may look as if there is almost like they're scrubbing the ground. You may also see clouds rising up into the storm itself. So there are just some scary looking clouds out there. There is wind being drawn into the storm right in this area here. And that is being wrapped back into the storm. And the updraft is likely right in here, and the hail core is going to be at the top as that air funnels and spirals upward. And then the colder air is descending back down. So this could be an artifact of the hail in here. In fact, this might be a three-body scatter strike. So if there's a three-body scatter strike here, meaning that the radar image coming out of Fort Worth, likely here, hitting the hailstone, part of that is being sent back to the radar site, part of that is being sent down to the ground, part of that is being scattered out to the south. And so that's why that may look like more of a developing hook echo. So that may not be a hook echo at all. When we looked at velocity, it looked like there wasn't much to see there. So that's a very real possibility. And sometimes this is what we do when we're tracking storms like this. I mean, we're looking at them, and then we're starting to apply the meteorological knowledge that we have. And for moments you might see something, and that's why we went to velocity, didn't see it. Then in my mind I have to reassess what it could possibly be. And so it may have just been a false, or what we call an artifact off of the cell. So it may have just been kind of a false reading from the radar. Can happen. Not out of the question, especially if there is an amount of hail in there. And it looks like right there toward Crossroads there could be, if it's not large hail, it could at least be plenty of small hail inside that cell. There could be a ton of little marbles there. So that was the hail track that came through Rural Shades to Crossroads. So see, you can see that lines up with maybe some close to quarter to golf ball sized hail right in there toward Crossroads. About 1.5 inches would be larger than quarters, and that's why that part of that cell is warned. Savannah, let's track that downstream. I think it's headed to the east toward Pointer at about 20 miles an hour. So we'll give everybody over in Pointer a heads up as to when it'll get over toward Pointer, and then eventually over toward Frankston, maybe even into the south end and southern parts of Lake Palestine. So that's the leading edge of that, and it's the reason that sort of goes out is because this could move to the north a little bit, could move down to the south. So anyway, LaRue would be about 422. Otherwise, it looks like it stays out over some open country and not into any side of populated areas. But of course, we know people live out in here. There might be some ponds or something that folks are fishing on, or just maybe out recreating along. So there might be some hail coming into those areas. But for the most part, LaRue would be next up. If that holds its current shape and current direction, then Frankston would be next up. Pointer would be at about 433, and that is, again, this hail core here. And this cell is warned till 4:15, and that's going to be parts of Anderson County, northern part of Anderson County, southern part here of Henderson County. So, and that is a warning based on hail alone. And large hail was one of the threats that we had today. We also had a damaging wind threat to go along with that. So let's see if we can get any updates. Chandler, about 18 miles east of Athens, we see lightning, a lot of lightning. Thank you, Debbie, appreciate that. So Chandler is seeing a lot of lightning. That's in that cell east of Athens. So she's seeing all of this out in here. So yeah, Chandler, I believe is right out in here. So that cell there with all that lightning. And look how some of the lightning strikes are out ahead of the thunderstorm itself. So that's why lightning can be very dangerous. Geneva says she's closer to the Crossroads area. And Brownsboro here. So folks are now starting to tune in from out there as this storm starts to affect those areas near Coffee City down to Troop. So a thunderstorm has moved and developed northwest of Coffee City. So those are the current warnings. One goes till 3:45, so that's the next 10 minutes. That's going to be the northern part of that cell that is impacting northern Henderson County and the city of Athens. And then that other cell down to the southwest is where we've got a ton of lightning, and that storm is tracking eastward with some large hail toward Coffee City. And then there's another thunderstorm that has now just blown up back toward Rice and Waxahachie. That has really gotten big, and that's going to probably move toward Gun Barrel City.
So we're at that storm near Waxahachie.
Yeah.
It says it's developed a multi-altitude radial convergence. So
Okay.
it's the latest update.
All right. Oh yeah. Okay, Mark. Okay, it's indicative of an enhanced wind threat. Oh, nice. Okay, so this one really could be something. This will be a cell worth watching on the direction that it goes. Let's put this into motion and figure out which direction that storm is moving in. All right, so it looks like it's flowing out to the northeast. So, and it frees it there on the new warning. So it's got a new warning on it, and it's headed east. All right, so this thing could develop a very sharp front to it and have a lot of wind with it as it tracks eastward. So we'll have to keep an eye on this and see what happens with it. Could dive to the southeast. It could head straight east. That would be toward Moore Station and eventually in Tyler. That's still, I think, 2 hours away from Tyler, so we wouldn't have to worry about that for the moment. Not in the long run. In the long run, we may have some very real concerns with that storm. All right. Tasha wants to know what's going on in Tyler right now. Nothing. We've got cloud cover, maybe a couple sprinkles, but in Tyler, I'll point out Tyler for Tasha. So you can see right over here, and the White House has some thunderstorms back toward Moore Station, but in Tyler, it's all quiet. But we are going to keep an eye on these storms here toward Moore Station if they continue to expand up to the north. All right, let's take a wide view of everything, and then we'll put this into motion for us, and we'll be able to. All right, so this cell here, moving to the east, it kind of split, and then it congealed and covered or converged back again. And then this one has become a large, look at that right in there. So that's the part that's expanding. As it does, now the wind threat increases on the eastern part of that. So we'll see if this continues. This may continue to grow into a bow and then track eastward. And it'll be the direction and movement of where it'll head. So it could head straight east. It could start diving back south toward Palestine and toward Jacksonville. But it, nonetheless, I think anywhere west of Tyler is going to have to watch that cell very carefully. And also watching this cell, though, this looks like it's starting to spread out a little bit. We'll see if this develops any kind of sharp wind event on the edge of that as it dives south. And looks like this one's starting to maybe take more of just an east to southeast trend at this time. So we got severe thunderstorm watch till 5 from Tyler to the east, severe thunderstorm watch till 10, Tyler to the west. The wind threat is there. The wind threat was in excess of 65, maybe 70 miles an hour. I saw one piece of computer data that suggested that one of these cells could produce as high as an 85 mile an hour wind gust. Not to say that that would happen, but at least if some piece of data is spitting that out, it's a real possibility, especially in this environment. And it could come as the thunderstorm's collapsing, or it could come as a result of this thunderstorm just merely generating its own environment, becoming its own complex of thunderstorms, getting a nice area where inflow winds increase behind it and start to push it, and it increases in forward momentum. As it does, the cold air aloft inside that storm is pushed or transferred down to the surface, and then it spreads out and it creates straight line wind damage. So these are concerning out here to the west for that very reason. The only thing that we have going for us here is that they're moving into an area that has seen thunderstorms already. The amount of energy up to Tyler is there. We have strong available energy. It weakens east of that. So these may be able to move into the Tyler area, and then as they move to the east, I would expect them to weaken just a little bit, or weaken to the point where they would no longer become severe, but it would be these areas out here to the west and to the south, down toward Crockett, Palestine, Jacksonville, Nacogdoches, and especially Lufkin, where the temperature sits at 93 degrees right now. Any area in here with all of this buoyancy and all of this energy that's available that just needs to pop, that's where we could find some very strong storms. So, yes?
We got a new comment asking about Nacogdoches. Oh, there's some lightning on the Nacogdoches cam, actually.
Yeah, I have the Nacogdoches. If you just go forward, I think the next graphic up. Oh, that's probably the hail. There it is. So that's going to be a live picture there from Nacogdoches, and appreciate you guys asking about NAC. Anything severe, Johnny Green, there's certainly a possibility you will have severe weather in Nacogdoches, and you can see from our clouds, they look pretty scary at this point, pretty ominous. Let's go back to the radar, and from the radar's vantage point, we can show you what's happening in Nacogdoches right now. Okay, those are all old reports from the Weather Service. Nothing new in our southeastern counties. This continues with the severe thunderstorm warning. Nacogdoches just saw this thunderstorm sort of move off to the east. So I would say for the time being, Nacogdoches is okay. Appleby with thunderstorms over toward Aiken and Chirino. Those are headed towards San Augustine and Newville. So that's a pretty potent thunderstorm right now, but it does look like it's cleared out of the city of Nacogdoches. So I'm not real super concerned about that at the moment. All right, widen out a little bit, please, Savannah. And yeah, so we have seen an increase, at least in coverage, in these showers and thunderstorms, though it looks like more and more of these are sort of down here to the southeast. So again, it could be I-20 to the south for the rest of the evening that really has to worry. What does that mean? That means if you live in Marshall, you've probably already seen your worst storms of the day, and also toward Gilmer and up toward Jefferson. So still got to watch where this cell is going, but the overall trend should push most of these to the southeast into the area where there's more instability left over this afternoon, especially anywhere near Longview and Marshall and even Henderson. This area here has seen a couple of rounds of showers and thunderstorms already. In fact, watch that cell there at Longview. Notice how it moved into that area where we had thunderstorms earlier this morning. I mean, this thing just absolutely vanished in the space of an hour. So we'll see what happens with these cells. These cells easily could do the same thing. Move into this area that's been kind of beaten up or worked over by the thunderstorms earlier, and as it comes into that, they'll fall apart within an hour. So it's really these storms back here to the west that have to be watched. Those are the ones that potentially could produce the damaging winds now and the very large hail, and even into Jacksonville. We have Tomato Fest going on in Jacksonville right now. Hopefully they are keeping an eye to the sky and maybe starting to think about where they're going to go if this thunderstorm here in Athens continues tracking southeast toward Jacksonville. In fact, Savannah, could we maybe look at that with using the ruler? Maybe we can stop that. I think these are generally moving to the east at 20 miles an hour. I have the ruler set up to show an estimated time arrival on a storm moving at about 20 miles an hour. So maybe just looking at that cluster, yeah, even into northern Cherokee County. And as it moves into Cherokee County, about the arrival time of that, I don't think they'll be into Jacksonville within the next, say, half hour or so, but maybe an hour from now, we'd have those thunderstorms moving into that area there. So, yeah. So that's like an hour. So that would be if they're moving at about 20 miles an hour. Here, click on that and then go up to the Properties tab and change that. This should be on. Let's see. Let's do estimated time of arrival. Oh yeah, it should have estimated time of arrival. Yeah. Oh, in an hour. Okay, that's what it says. Okay, sorry. So I was like trying to figure out how far they were. I thought it was giving us a distance. So yeah, so these are still an hour away from Jacksonville. So that would put them in there about 4:44. So keep an eye on that in Jacksonville.
I think the Tomato Festival ended at 3. So
Did it?
I think so.
Okay.
So hopefully they.
I thought there were concerts tonight.
Oh, maybe
I don't
there
know.
are. I think I thought it was 8
like
to 3, but maybe the
activities and things
actual,
like
yeah.
that. Oh, yeah.
But if there's concerts tonight, then yes.
All right, still nothing there. All right. Appreciate everybody staying with us and watching as we cover up these these storms as they move through here, and hopefully we can get rid of these before the not too distant future. And oh, there's a dance from 7 till 11 at Tomato Fest, but it did end at 3. You're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's good. All right, so we got it. We squeezed it in today. Yeah. Yeah, for the time being, unless we get something a little bit closer in, can we? Yeah, I think we're going to take a break then and keep an eye on this storm. So that we came on really because we were sort of concerned about where that storm was headed out of Athens, but it looks like that is maybe weakened just a little bit. All right, so I appreciate you all watching on CBS19.tv and our Facebook page, and also on our YouTube channel. We will break for right now, and of course keep watching CBS 19. We'll stream the information at the top of the screen. If there's a tornado warning, we'll break in. If we get a threat of, say, 80-mile-an-hour winds, of course, we would break in with that considerable potential for damage. Other than that, we'll continue to just crawl that information at the top of the screen. Keep checking back to CBS19.tv and our Facebook page and our YouTube channel for additional updates. Have a great afternoon, everyone.